And it's time to make some picks. I've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC matchups. Obviously, Alabama and Tennessee makes for the 5th. And I've got 3 bonus games on the board with national implications. So we'll do it kind of like we did last week. We'll go right around the board. We'll go Katie, Wyatt, Chris, and then we'll flip around and go Chris, Wyatt, Katie. And we'll start with Mississippi State and Arkansas, the bottom of the barrel in the SEC West. Teams that Alabama has already defeated. Katie Windham, Mississippi State is on the road at Arkansas. Will the Hogs get their first SEC win at home under Coach Pittman this year?
Yes. I mean, I think this is obviously it's a must win for Arkansas if they want to get to a bowl game this season, which I think ideally coming into the year they would have been playing for a little bit more than that. But the way the schedule's gone this year, it hasn't. So I'm going to say Arkansas wins at home.
Wyatt Fulton.
I think, Arkansas is heavy on my heart here. My wife is an Arkansas fan, so last week was very stressful for me in the stadium. But I do think Arkansas gets their first SEC win at home this week.
If Arkansas loses as Pittman drops to 10-21 in the SEC, which he's a better coach than that, but what makes this one kind of tough is I was really impressed with Mississippi State when Alabama faced it earlier this season. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Arkansas. I don't feel good about it, but I'm kind of like with Katie. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I'll make it 4 for 4, going with the Hogs. I'm more confident than probably the other 3. I think Arkansas. Coach Saban convinced me. I thought he was doing a little coach speak last week. They're better than their record. No, he convinced me, and Arkansas convinced me by playing through the second half, really winning the second half 15-3. I think Arkansas gets their first SEC win this weekend. All right, we're going South Carolina at Missouri. Shane Beamer with his broken foot going to the other Columbia. Chris Walsh, how you feel about South Carolina at Missouri?
I like Missouri, big time. They've got it going. If you watch the game with Kentucky, it was kind of interesting because it was all Kentucky. Arkansas does a fake punt, and it worked beautifully. First pass a guy had ever thrown at the collegiate level, and he hits the guy basically in stride. It's homecoming in Missouri. They've got a lot going. 2 weeks from now, they've got Georgia with a bye in between. So yeah, I'm buying that the Tigers are going to pull this off and keep it going.
Wyatt Fulton.
I'm drinking the Missouri Kool-Aid. They've got a really good offense, and I really like what Eli Drinkowitz and Brady Cook have been doing over there. And I just think that they've got a little too much. South Carolina not quite living up to expectations this year.
Yeah, I picked Mizzou last week. I'm gonna stick with them, especially at home against South Carolina.
Trisky.
Real quick, and I don't know. I think we're going to find out a lot about SEC coaches with this game because I don't know if you guys saw it. Shane Beamer said that he broke his foot. He was kicking a Gatorade bottle. Okay, if you're Missouri, how many balls do you throw near where he's standing on the sideline?
He said he's not taking any pain medication because he doesn't want to call a strange call on 4th down and impact the game. I'm going with Missouri as well. I do not I don't have a whole lot of respect for Coach Beamer as a head coach. I think he's a good little football coach. I think he's got a good football mind, obviously football pedigree. But the broken foot, the way he talks in the media, he just doesn't seem like he has very good emotional control, and that gets into I think that affects the team. I'm going with Missouri as well, and I think Shane Beamer may not be long for the maybe on the future Alabama analyst list here pretty soon.
And let's just hope that he doesn't take his shirt off and wave it around in the air like another coach.
We'll keep it rolling. Number 13, Ole Miss at Auburn. Auburn got their tails whipped last week down in Death Valley. A certain writer in the state of Alabama suggested that Lane Kiffin should be fired if he loses to Auburn this weekend. Katie Windham, you're first up. Are you taking the Lane train, or does Hugh Freeze get themselves get what? That'll be their first SEC win. Yeah, yeah. They lost to A&M, lost to Georgia, lost to LSU. Will they get their first SEC win?
I don't think so. I don't think the Auburn offense can keep up with the Ole Miss offense. I think it might be a little closer than people think. Someone told me, which I haven't fact-checked this. This is what I was trying to look up really quick, that Ole Miss has only won at Jordan-Hare like 3 times ever or something like that.
I was looking that up right now, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, they've only won – they have a 3-17 record at Auburn. So it might be a little closer than people think, but I just don't – because the Auburn crowd will be hyped. They're looking for that first SEC win, but I watched a lot of that Auburn-LSU game when I was last Saturday, and this Auburn offense, I don't see how they can keep up with Ole Miss.
They stinky. Yeah. They're not good.
With
really feel?
Auburn is a freaky environment. First off, I don't know what they've done at Jordan-Hare to make that environment just so tough to play in, but it is difficult. Ole Miss is kind of getting that same voodoo treatment that Alabama gets whenever they go to Jordan-Hare. It's a night game in Jordan-Hare. Auburn's a different animal at night. If they go with Robbie Ashford, I like Auburn's chances. I just don't think they're going to go with Robbie Ashford, so I'm going to take Ole Miss in that offense.
It's kind of a weird answer, but everything with Auburn's weird. So, I mean, it's very fitting. So well done. The Hugh Freeze Bowl.
Exactly.
It's going to be – there's going to be some extra on this for that alone. The Auburn crowd, I think, is going to be interesting on this one, but I just don't see Lane coming up short on this one. Ole Miss has got too much going in its direction, so I'm taking the Lane train. I'm taking Joey Freshwater.
There we go. We're going 4 for 4 with Ole Miss. And another just weird aspect is when Auburn was looking for their new coach, Lane Kiffin was at the very top of their list and had a little flirtation. Is he going to leave Ole Miss? So it's going to be interesting. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Maybe we'll catch the second half or maybe the fourth quarter after Alabama and Tennessee finishes. I'm going to Ole Miss as well. An easy pick, but just a fun game. Our Army is going to LSU. The only real point I want to make or a question I want to ask is how appropriate do you guys feel that it is that LSU is painting their end zones camouflage in honor of hosting Army? I know it's Army and obviously the service academies, but not very often you see the home team paying homage or paying respect, on the field for the opposition. And just a funny quip, will that make it difficult for either team to find the end zone?
Do you want me to start?
Anybody, because I think everybody's taking LSU.
Yeah, obviously LSU. I don't know. It's funny because anytime teams wear military appreciation jerseys or, Alabama baseball even wore the camo hats for the last, month or two of last season. People always joke about one team respecting the troops more. I guess it's a nice touch. It would make more sense if it was like, Veterans Day weekend or something like that, but I don't have anything wrong with it.
I wish Alabama would schedule the military schools. I really do. I think home and home in the Army and Navy, I think would be wonderful at some point down the line. I've written that before. I maybe some, if I ever, whenever I see our athletic director again, I might mention it, see if and try to gauge his interest. So I love that. LSU was doing this. End zones, sure, why not? It'll be kind of cool. So they did camouflage, like real camouflage in one, and like the LSU colors camouflage style in another. Although that might be too bright. Never mind. Okay.
All right, so let's go to the outside games outside of the SEC before we finish with Alabama and Tennessee. Penn State, number 7 Penn State is going to Ohio State. Both teams undefeated. We'll do Penn State, Ohio State, just so you're ready. Duke at Florida State and Utah at USC. Those will be our 3 outside the box, outside the SEC games. Chris Walsh, we'll start with you. Penn State at Ohio State, Big Ten matchup.
Huge game. Quick answer on this one. I'm not going with Penn State until I see them actually win a really big game like this. So Ohio State's home. I think right now they're the better team. We'll pull it out with a field goal or something like that.
Yeah, home game for Ohio State. Both these teams are really good defensively. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. has struggled with drops this season. I think he had 3 last week against Purdue. So not quite the offensive output that you're hoping Ohio State would have, but Penn State doesn't win these big games on the road and things like that. They've only beaten Ohio State, I think, once since like 2015. So I'm going Ohio State here.
Yeah, I'm with Chris and Wyatt. It seems like Penn State never step up to the moment in these big games. Admittedly, I don't think I've watched Penn State at all this year. I've watched Ohio State a little bit, but I'm going to go with the Buckeyes at home.
OHIO will go 4 for 4, and Ryan Day can talk about Lou Holtz a little bit more. All right, Duke at Florida State. Will Florida State falter? Florida State looking like if they continue to do what they're doing, they might be one of the 4 in the playoff. Katie Windham, will the Duke Blue Devils pull off an upset?
You know what? Why not? Just spiced up. We've been going with the home team a lot so far. The favorites. Duke has a good quarterback. They've shown some good things this season. Had the one tough loss. So, am I super confident in this pick? No, but why not? Just switch it up a little bit. I'll go Duke on the road.
I'll be controversial here. I'm going to take Florida State. Riley Leonard is still dealing with that high ankle sprain he suffered in Duke's first and as of right now, I believe, only loss of the season. He might return, but the biggest thing for him is going to be is how close is he to 100%. And I think even if he's this questionable to play at this point in the week, he's not going to be anywhere near 100% for the game. I'm taking the Seminoles.
I'm taking the Seminoles as well. It's Duke.
We'll leave Katie Windham on an island, and I'll take Florida State as well. All right, last outside the box game, Utah, number 14, Utah at USC. Chris Walsh, how are we feeling about that big Pac-12 matchup?
I really, really, really want to pick Utah. This by far to me is the toughest pick of the 3. It's I keep looking for USC's defense. That just kind of tells you where we're at there. I think Utah is always more fundamentally sound. I wonder if we're going to see Cam Rising maybe as well. So it'll be kind of interesting. I'm going to pick USC, but I don't feel good about it at all. I would definitely take the points in this if I was a betting person.
This is where I'll differ from Chris. I'm going to take Utah. Utah's a really physical team, especially for the Pac-12. And as we saw last week, as we saw against Utah twice last year, a Lincoln Riley team gets punched in the mouth and they don't know how to respond. I think Utah's going to do that again, and it'll be tight, but I do think Utah pulls it.
I'm kind of like Chris. I've been looking for USC's defense, but Utah's offense has been bad so far this year. I just looked at their scoring output, and I don't know if they've scored more than 20, or out of the 20s range once. But if Cam Rising comes back, that'll help. I think I'm going to go with USC though at home.
All right, we'll make it nice and split. I'll take Utah. I'll take Utah to kind of pull off the upset and leave USC 2 losses in a row. All right, so we're at the business end. Number 11, Alabama is hosting number 17, Tennessee. Alabama, 9.5-point favorite. We'll treat Chris Walsh like the Kirk Herbstreit. No picks for Chris Walsh, but give us your final analysis on Alabama, Tennessee as we wrap up this Football Friday.
I think the revenge factor is definitely going to be in play here. I think Alabama's going to be geared up for it. And we're going to get some more shove the ball down their throats offense if they can pull it off. So I think Alabama fans are looking for a little payback, and they got a little bit of a reminder that college football isn't quite as easy as they kind of anticipate. Great atmosphere. Should be a lot of fun.
Wyatt Fulton, last comments and your pick, Alabama and Tennessee.
Last comments. This is really just going to come down to the trenches, and we say that just about every week. But really and truly, the trench play is where this is going to be make or break. I've got Alabama winning. I'm going to say 28-21.
We like that. Katie Windham, you'll be in Bryant-Denny Stadium in the press box right there for BamaCentral.com, leading all of our coverage. How are we feeling about the third Saturday in October?
I think Alabama's going to win. I don't know. I'm not going to pick them to cover this week because I feel like when I've done that, I've been wrong. So, which means they probably will cover. But yeah, I'm with Wyatt. I think it'll probably be in that 7-point range. I feel like 9.5 is a little high. But then again, like we talked about earlier, if Alabama is able to force Joe Milton into some mistakes and turnovers, I think they do cover. But I'm going to go with Alabama wins, but doesn't cover.
Oh, gosh, I've been thinking about it all week long. I guess I'm down to nailing down the pick. I'm going with Alabama as well. So we'll go 3 for 3, taking the Tide to win. I think the revenge factor, as Chris alluded to, is going to be too large. And I think that, you'll get just one more mistake out of Joe Milton than you will out of Jalen Milroe. Maybe Milroe takes more sacks, but Milton turns the ball over more. I think that's going to be kind of like which mistake is more deadly, taking sacks or turning the ball over. If you can let James Burnett punt the ball away to Tennessee rather than Jalen Milroe throw the ball to Tennessee and set them up on the 10-yard line like he did against Texas, I think that's a better odds for you. All right, I'm going with Alabama's going to cover. I think Alabama's going to cover. I'm going 31. I'm going 31-20. 31-20. I think you're going to get a couple bombs over the top, and you get the cover on the last drive or two. I think it's going to be close all the way throughout. It's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday. Alabama covers. Alabama wins. You go into a bye week. We're going to have a lot of fun on the bye week at BamaCentral.com, talking about a lot of interesting things, probably highlighting some basketball a little bit more as we're, 18 days away from basketball season getting rolling away for women's and men's.